Hello and welcome to FamilyBond, the space where we have real, raw and relatable conversation about Nigerian family life, love and everything in between. My name is Emilia. Today we are diving into a topic many young couples whisper about but do not talk enough about it. Love in the baby year. How do young couples keep spark in their marriage? The baby years are beautiful, but they can also be brutal, sleepless nights and crying children, trying to balance work, love and everything. It's no surprise that many couples began to feel more like co-parents than lovers. So how do you hold on to love when life gets so loud? Joining me today is a beautiful guest. She is a mother of two, a young woman navigating joy and challenges of marriage and motherhood. Please welcome Mrs. Gbemi Afolabi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, ma.
It's good
to
to
be here. Yeah, I can see that in your face. You're happy to be here. All right, let's get into it. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
My name is Gbemi Afolabi. Gbemi Afolabi is a mother. She's an healthcare professional, and I'm happy to be here.
Welcome. Okay, let's get into it. To start with, tell us a bit about your early years in marriage.
Wow. Okay, so in the context of this conversation, I got married 5 years ago. Yeah. So, prior to marriage, we had our expectations of what marriage, motherhood, parenthood would be, but trust me, you have to experience it hand-on. So I wouldn't say it was all so rosy. So it started rough, and then we started picking our lessons from there.
Okay. What was your relationship like before you started having kids?
Okay, with my husband. Okay, so I had met my husband some years before we even started dating. So we had this sort of friendship ongoing between us. So it was fun going out to eat every other weekend, and it was just cool. But after marriage, I got pregnant like 6 months after.
Wow.
I wanted children immediately. So,
yeah.
Yes.
All right. When the first child came along, how did that shift your relationship dynamic with your partner?
Wow. Okay, so after my first child, after I got pregnant, I discovered I was pregnant. Of course, we had waited a little bit. 6 months. I wanted to get pregnant immediately.
Yeah.
Yes, because I felt I wanted to, be
just
done
give
with,
birth and
yes, before a particular age. So when I found out I was pregnant, of course, so many changes happened. I was very sick. I couldn't smell like some certain fragrances and all. Food, aversion to food.
Was this during the pregnancy?
Yes, during the pregnancy.
Okay.
Of course, so many lifestyle changes had to happen, like my diet, but thank God for a very understanding husband. He did his best, yes.
Okay. That would have been really challenging. But let's talk about your emotional and mental health. How was it that period?
Wow, emotionally, I was a wreck, to be honest, because I was sick. He came the first 3 months. There were frequent hospital visits, injections. I have to literally take injections to be able to hold down food. So it was tough. Vomiting. The vomiting was a lot, and for a working mom at that, you have to. There is no consideration whatsoever.
Okay.
In the workplace, you have to perform, or you resign, or you go home. So showing up at work, and I'm a frontline person. You have to be there, smiling at people,
even when you're going through your own.
So imagine trying to hold back vomiting while talking to your client. It was very tough. Like, I would get home and I want to, can I just take a break? But of course, it was a beautiful ending at the end of the day.
Right. Right. Okay. So many young couples describe a sense of emotional distance when after children. Did you ever experience that? Like, when your children start coming, did you experience any emotional distance between you and your husband?
Yes, I did. And I think as women, we don't talk about the challenges of motherhood enough. Which is why I was very happy when I got this invite to speak on this matter. So when we started having babies, of course, let me just put it out there, it's a different ball game. like I'm talking from my own experience, but overall, I want to believe that before children is definitely not the same as after children came, because you are battling sleepless nights, diaper changes, you know, like your hormones well. And yes, hospital visits, checkups. Some women have their children too cesarean, you are nursing your scar, like, and your hormones are just everywhere. You cry about little things, and of course, to answer your question, it did affected the dynamics of, you know, things between my husband and I, but of course, I tried to communicate when I could. And
okay, let's talk about childbirth. How was it for you?
Wow. I think that journey it's an experience that feels like you're being given a second chance, because it is a moment of life and death, literally, because this minute you're fine and you can not really tell what the next minute will be. So I had, aside the first 3 months of sickness I was talking about earlier, after the 3 months I was pretty okay to, it was time for delivery, everything. It was time for baby to come. We had 4 weeks, 40 weeks, 1 day, 2 days, and okay, so I started. I developed.
You passed your due date.
Yes, I passed my due date. Wow. And then from just, it was a regular antenatal, and they were like, oh, madam, your baby's heart rate is dropping. Wow. You can't go home today. And it was my first time, so they will still give you the stipulated period of time to wait. And also from the admission, madam, we can't find your heartbeat. We went into induction field, and before you know it was like, let's just go into the theater and, you know, bring out your baby. And I can still remember vividly being in that theater room, and so many lights, like bright lights all over the place, and for a minute I felt like, am I just crossing over to the other side? But I remembered saying to myself that if God has brought me this far,
He will see you
for
through.
me, it's a lifetime experience that I don't think I can forget.
I don't think anyone that has gone through childbirth
that moment. I remembered when I was opened up, and I was literally waiting to hear the cry of my baby, and everybody, because by the time they brought her out, she was already turning blue. So for a moment, everybody just abandoned me.
That would have been so terrifying.
Yes, the silence, and you're just looking. I can't tell the baby what's going on. You know, some nurses will just be like, okay, madam, everything is fine. Meanwhile, they were trying to resuscitate my baby at the other end. That silence, I still think I have flashbacks. You know,
triggers.
Yes, and still on that operating room, my anesthesia actually wore out, so I was feeling pain. So those are some of the experiences I had. But you know, when you see your baby, when you watch them grow, they kiss you. You know, you kind of forget about, but there's actually no forgetting. It's really a lifetime experience.
Wow. Yes. I'll give that up for mothers. They are really trying, and may God bless them.
Amen.
Okay, let's talk about intimacy, not just sex now.
Okay,
but connection. Did you ever feel like you lost touch with your own identity as a woman and partner while becoming a mom?
Okay, so talking about intimacy, just like we said, intimacy is not just about sex, but about connecting and, you know, communication. So, but after, let's even start from the bodily part to answer that question of if I felt like myself.
Okay.
Of course, during that delivery process, from the vagina examination and all, I think my husband was allowed in. So, but after like some sessions, because they are coming to check, are you dilated? And he's there like male consultant, you know. At some point, he just say, you know what, just go ahead. Wow. So at some point, I felt so open. I felt, because you have like maybe a consultant or two other medical officers, nurses, which can be the opposite sex, just standing all over you. I got to a point and saying, you know what,
everybody's
no more be like because they were still trying to like after the induction period, they were still trying to like check if I was even. I said, you know what, let's just go into the theater. So after the delivery, I had that stuck in my head. In fact, one of the doctors, fell over me while he was trying to do the examination because it was like he said something like your service is the position is somewhat very difficult. So he actually slipped while he was trying to push against the pressure to get to me. So having that play that I feel like my body was violated in some sort of way. I know I'm giving back to my child, but sometimes so. But after we got home, after I was discharged home, I had that conversation with my husband to like, yo, what's going on? Like, how was it? Like, no, like that's the beauty of it. At that moment, it's not even about you. You know that okay, it's about your child being fine. But then I still have flashbacks, and I'm like, okay. So, but going forward, we had a lot of communication. Of course, I had scars I was nursing, and then there were doctors' instructions on wait for you to feel yourself, before we became intimate. To be honest, that is why we need to talk. We as women, we need to talk about those things more often, and even the men out there need to know these things because they just know it in pockets of. They are not the ones at the receiving end.
They're not the one experiencing it.
And so our job as women is to tell them. So I have to tell them.
But sometimes you tell them, they still feel like some even compare you to their mother. How their mother give birth to 10 children and they were fine.
It's still in the place of communication to say, first of all, I am not your mother.
Yeah.
This is my own experience. This is what I went through. So you can say, oh, your mother had her own children through vaginal birth. Yeah. She never had CS, so our experience cannot be the same. So you need to communicate that to you, and that is why courtship is also very important. So that
you're getting married.
Having a good spouse also is a thing. Like someone who, even if they don't truly understand, they are open to hear you communicate and kind of empathize with how you feel. So in terms of intimacy, of course, your schedule will change. It's all about sleepless night, changing diapers. Even in that moment, the times where we, it eases me of like, okay, let me hold the baby for some minutes. That is still in intimacy, like enjoying the moment. Yeah. Because life after baby and before baby is totally different. So how did we like manage our intimacy? Was just enjoying the moment, accepting the reality of we decided to be parents. We have not walked this journey before, but we can walk it through. It was not all so easy. There are days where I'm so tired, I just want to sleep. I don't even care when my baby is crying. I just hand over the baby to him and say, I just need to rest. Wow. So it was a lot of, some days I'm 10, he is 90, I am 90, he's 10. We just found, joy in that. Yes. And then when I began to feel myself, we're able to, start doing the do, because some women also sleep away from there. We can, so is the hormones. Understanding also means that you're also considering the other person. So over the weeks where I'm staying apart, like I don't feel like sex, or like I don't think we should do things, I still communicate, and he's just there patiently waiting. And then of course there are activities, talking about some of these things, getting help, resting. So when your body heals faster, you feel better. In fact, some basic things as just getting help. Yeah. So some days we just get someone to help us with the baby, and we have some long time with ourselves. So it helped us grow back into the intimacy. Interesting. Okay, let's talk about CS now. A lot of women don't like when maybe on the day of delivery and they tell them, oh, we have to do CS for you. Sometimes it happens like that. Yeah. Maybe they were expecting to give birth through vagina, and then they got to the hospital and they were told that, okay, the baby, this is what we need to do. And they're like, no. How did you feel when you found out that you were going to give birth through CS? Okay, for me, maybe my orientation was different because I had always been an healthcare professional. So
Yeah.
I work in a hospital. So I think my orientation was different. I had always known that at that point where at delivery, basically speaking, your life and that of your baby is at risk.
Yes.
And it is foolishness to have gone through the journey of 9 months and you allow some sentiments. Of course, I respect religion. Some women believe that, oh, I'm an Hebrew woman.
Yeah.
Right? But at that point where I've witnessed a lot of unnecessary stillbirths because the mother, sometimes it's the husband that insists on, no, in our family nobody has
given birth.
Right?
So
all of those things I believe that women are becoming more open to know that your life and that of the baby is all that is important. And it doesn't matter whether you give birth through CS or vaginally. Once the mother and baby
is for the baby.
So for me, it was not a difficult thing for of course there's always that part where you feel like, you know, as a first time mom, I want to experience labor. But when it was not forthcoming, when I was being told that my baby's life is in danger, of course I would not jeopardize 9 months journey of pain over sentiment and all. It was tough. It was tough, to be honest. It was tough after the delivery because for the sake of respect, somebody actually very close to me then, some minutes after I came out of the theater, I walked in and I was like, oh, I don't even know how to take care of you because nobody in our house ever had CS. And that was the first thing that sent me into postpartum depression. I cried for days. I did not even want to see my baby. You see? And so this is why what you're doing is so beautiful, because I believe it will help, you know,
create awareness.
It will help create awareness for women out there to say that there shouldn't be any discrimination about a woman's mode of delivery. What is important is that we have healthy mothers and we have healthy babies.
Thank you so much, ma. Okay, you're raising young children, but you are also nurturing a marriage. What have you learned about balance?
Talking about balance, I'll be lying if I told you that I have winged it. Some days you're in a 10, some days you're on 50, some days you're on 100. Some days you think that you're on top of your game, and some days you're just winging it. But I think balance for me would be creating structures that eases some of the burdens that I carry. So I'm a working mom, to be specific. I work and I also take care of my children. So the support structure for me is I have a domestic staff who does some of the chores for me. Some days, instead of cooking, which is the traditional thing that we have been taught to do as a wife, structure for me is telling myself, you know, today I am tired, we are tired, let's all eat out, you know, based on my family budget and the things that I can afford. I understand that some women are not at that place yet, but for us to establish that balance as a mother and also as a wife, because, okay, let me give you an example. I'm supposed to cook, right, and I spend all the day cooking. But my husband comes home and I'm already very cranky and tired. So I'm going to, you know, fall short of my wifely duties in quotes. So balance for me is putting structures in place that helps you manage the both. Of course, there are days where I just take out time to be a mother. I am on the floor playing with my children, helping with homework and all of that. So I get help, ask for help. Sometimes it's just the weekend that you get to just rest, give yourself the rest that is well needed.
Okay, thank you so much. You have shared a very beautiful story today. But before I let you go, right, what is one thing you wish more young couples knew before they start having children?
Wow, I think I will take my time a little bit here. So for young couples, do you mean young couples or intending partners, like people that are still dating.
Both. Still dating, in the verge of getting married.
Okay, for
those
young
that are
couples
married.
and intending couples, parenthood is a lot.
True.
So while you're still, waiting for the children, you need to. That is why I'm here to tell you the truth, that it's a lot. It involves a lot of planning, a lot of finance. Those tiny humans cost a fortune. So I am not saying this out here to scare anyone, but I'm telling you that, so many times in the courtship season, you just think, oh, it's about the date night. While all of those things are beautiful, it is also very important, as little as how many children are we going to have. You have to have those conversations even while you're still dating. And then parenthood is tasking. Even with two helping partners, it can still be tasking, because you are going to lose your sleep. Sometimes, okay, for instance, for women, if you were a career-driven person, of course, there are days where you have to be at home just nursing your children.
Yes.
So imagine if you now have to do that with someone that is not understanding. Speaking for the men, for instance, some women don't even want to give birth. So imagine you're a family-oriented person and you end up with that kind of person. So these are conversations that people should have.
Some couple feels the spark is gone, or like they are stuck in surviving mode. I want to ask you, what do you believe young couple could start doing practically, emotionally, spiritually to reconnect and keep their love strong in the baby years?
Okay, for baby years, what young couples can start practicing is that's why this awareness is also very needed, for you to have this conversation with your spouse, like, so that you begin to mentally, emotionally, financially, prepare yourself. Role distribution, we are in such a time where the roles are being reserved. Gone are the days where fathers will say, no, take your child, change the diaper, because those are one of the things that causes burnout, when it's just one person that is being overburdened with the responsibility. So they can start talking about their expectations. Women should talk about their expectations, and men should talk about their expectations. I expect you to help me with our children, not that you're helping me. For instance,
it's not even help.
It's not help.
It's
our children.
Yes.
Changing the mindset that has existed before time about parenting. So I think that's how people keep their spark. Some women don't feel good about their body. Men need to be aware that when a woman goes through childbirth and pregnancy, there might be some physical changes that talking about those things, like, oh, how would you react, or how do we navigate these things. There are changes that definitely come with motherhood and parenting. And I think if you prepare yourself, talk about these things, it will help you.
Let your partner know your expectation, what you expect to get after marriage and when children start coming in. All right, thank you so much, ma. So what is one thing you wish young couples should start doing? Those dating, those planning to get married, and those that just got married.
So I think young couples should start having the right conversations during courtship and even before children arrive. You have to be self-aware to I think some people just want to have children for having children. Have you been able to sit down to say, is this what I really want for myself? And if I want to have children, am I ready to give it all that it requires? You should be having that conversation with your partner, like, how many children do you want to have? Do you even want to have children at all? Because that is where the issues come up. Like, somebody wants to have like 4 children and someone thinks that they are cut out for only 2. So I wish that young couples, intending couples, should have conversations around parenthood, the finance, the structure, important. The support system. I've had cases of mothers who say they have a lot of children, but their husbands believe that they should not have helps. They
Wow.
can't get help. So how do you navigate that?
Okay.
Those are conversations you should ask while you should have, I mean, while you're still, dating, while you're still courting, so that you know the kind of person you're entering the parenting journey with. Because it is tasking, it costs a lot. It costs you your time, your resources, your emotions. I wish that young couples would sit down, analyze the things, have real conversations about these things that they are parenting. Some of the things that causes issues sometimes is with parenting style. You grew up from different backgrounds. Have these conversations.
There should be compromise. Thank you so much, Ma, for sharing your beautiful story with us. It was such an insightful conversation.
Thank you for having me.
That was such a powerful conversation. It's a reminder that sometimes it's not about big things, but small daily moments of choosing each other again and again. Now, to all the young couples watching, you are not alone. If you have felt more like teammates than lovers lately, that doesn't mean your relationship is broken. It means the season has changed, and with a little intention, your love can evolve too. Now, I did love to hear from you. Are you a parent trying to reconnect with your partner? Have you gone through season of distance? What helped you and what didn't? Let us talk in the comment section. Your voice matters. You have been watching Family Bond, and I'm your host, Emilia. Until next time, remember, love doesn't vanish when babies arrive. It just asks us to grow. Till we see you on the next episode.